Welcome back to Metal Heroes Review, episode 65. We're here reviewing episodes 17 to 20 of Spielban. In these four episodes, these are a bit interesting to say the least. Where the first one is like, okay, so now this seems very familiar. It's like, these episodes, it's like, yeah, I'm getting deja vu watching these things, like very similar plot threads in both Kamen Rider and in, well, mainly Black and also previous Sentai series. In the case of this first one, yeah, this reminds me a lot of something I think I saw in like RX, I think it was, involving a video game. Now, Sentai never did anything with this at this period of time. It was probably just Kamen Rider. I think it was Black that did this. So, there's this kid who apparently is a friend of Spielban's. So, he's very good at video games. And then a stranger comes up to him and say, "Hey kid, you want to play a really cool video game? It involves riding a motorcycle, and then his consciousness to be transferred into the game itself." Now you're thinking, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. Didn't this also happen in the Kamen Rider series? Yes, I believe this happened in RX, if I remember correctly. Yes. They'll involve a group of kids, not just one kid. And also, Spielban himself gets involved with this stuff. And then he gets trapped in an artificial hallucination where he's seeing the whole Wolf Empire hierarchy, including Queen Pandora, which probably is the first time he's been interacting with her the entire series. Or at least seen on screen together with her, because aside from the fact this is a hallucination, in the case of the Queen herself, this is probably by far the Queen's first time she's been outside of the frickin' fortress. In the case of the other ones, the only ones you've seen outside of the fortress is maybe like General I'm thinking of VR Troopers. Basically, General Death Trap. Yeah, he's like the only one, aside from the spy group, who's been seen outside. Dr. Bio has, in a way, not appeared outside the fortress. He's basically just stood there. I thought this was interesting. Eventually, he's able to get out of it thanks to Chrysalis. At one point, he couldn't do it. Then he eventually does and gets out of it. And beats the robot who apparently disguised himself as the stranger. Yeah, I guess gives the whole thing of strange danger basically a whole new meaning. Yeah. Now, that was 17. 18 is a really interesting episode. This one also features the return of Helen in this episode. First time it's episode 16. She only missed one episode. After this, she's not seen again until like episode 21, which we're going to get to that next video. So, there's a mysterious girl who Spielban meets, who likes being near water. Her name is Karen. And he follows her to her house because he basically finds out because she dropped her wallet. And she's afraid of him. But she doesn't know the fact he could be a potential ally. She does not know that yet. And then apparently it's revealed that she is an alien, like Spielban is, except she's from the planet Plant. Yes, that is seriously in the planet. Now you're thinking, wait a minute. Didn't that name also pop up in another series? Yes, it popped up in the Space Sheriff series. I believe it popped up in Snyder, I believe it was. Yes, I remember it popped up there. I'm surprised, because I remember there was a planet called Planet Plane. Yes, it's like they just come with random names from planets. And Planet Plant seems like a random name for a planet. And apparently they wanted to merge her species with another one to create a new hybrid. And we do see a brief return of Helvina in this episode, because she's there. And Dr. Bio's like, wait, I thought you said we were going to leave her alone for a bit. Here's the thing. It's been 5 episodes since she transformed. Because last time she did it was back in episode 13. This is 18. And her people will get killed. And then the ship was taken away, crashes in this lake, and the ship is shaped like a cactus because of the whole plant thing. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna live in this lake," and that's last I see of her. I'm like, okay. Aside from the fact Return of Alvina, this is just a not that good of an episode. I mean, I like the whole Karen plot. Just at the ending, feels like what? It almost feels like Spielban is really a complete idiot, where he just somehow indirectly lets the bad guy into this woman's home. At least here episodes basically the right Spielman be stupid. Next episode's a little bit better. So, in the case of 19, this involves robots. Yes, an episode involving robots. Which, if you're curious, well, of course, you use the whole idea of robot. You write basically one episode of the following series. And episode Blue SWAT. Mm-hmm. So, basically, there's these robots, one whose name is Samson. And there's this doctor who appears in this episode, who's a mentor of Dagra. Yeah, and get this, he also appeared on an episode of Gekken Ranger as a butler. Yes, a butler. And apparently he also appeared in Ultraman as well, which is interesting to say the least. Mm-hmm. I don't remember who he played in Ultraman, but he did appear in Ultraman. Yeah, and the whole thing is that Def Zero wants to make these robots into killing machines, and it's like, okay, interesting. And they kept this right now. The robot in the episode is just a robot. She had like a circle. I'm like, yeah. And the thing with the monster in this episode is his name is Electric Roller. And you might be curious because of the whole VR Troopers thing. He did appear on VR Troopers as Electrobot. Excuse me. Yeah, except instead of having this scientist guy snapping, there was a scene later on where he's like, it is quite interesting. So, he apparently is like the only, like, seems like he's the only robot in this whole episode. Look like he's probably like a guy in a suit. So, they bring us was going to rampage and destroy Electric Factory. And they can't destroy these robots because they belong to this doctor. And Dagon, for some reason, they chose not to steal his robot. Probably because basically it looked too cute to steal. I'm guessing at that. And swear allegiance to the Worth Empire via High Hitler style. I thought that was kind of weird. I thought Spielban disguised as a robot. I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, that was the only funny bit the whole episode was him just basically disguised as a robot. Which all he did was simply took out the internal workings and just proclaim he's a robot. And he gets out, transforms, and how Samson's turned back is by a doctor hopping on his back and snap a bunch of wires and make him back because apparently the wiring is wrong. Yes. And I read apparently in VR Troopers, the character Caitlin, one of the VR Troopers did this instead of basically some random scientist. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird to change that. But 19 is also not that good of an episode. It's like, oh, let's use robots. I like the monster. I like its design. You would think you're more intimidating of a monster, but not really. 20 is interesting to say the least. Now, what about 20? 20. By the way, this episode was actually not adapted for VR Troopers. It's probably the only one it has isn't. As for why, not sure why. So we have this scientist, who makes androids except basically comes like skin covering with them. I'm like, wait a minute. Now this does not feel like a rip-off of Kamen Rider or VR or Super Sentai. This is a take an idea from the Terminator, which came out 2 years prior to this episode. Excuse me. Yeah. And of course, they're after the science, because of course, obviously, now the whole idea of like, oh, the obviously figuring out that the villains want this guy for their plans, and I'm like, yeah, that's something that happened in Sentai as well in the 80s. Like, oh, we have this really cool device. Too bad the villains want it, and then it's destroyed by the end of the episode. Here they want the scientists to make an android army, and like they torture his wife, because like they have where I thought this was really interesting. So Spielban disguised himself as a repairman, not knowing. Now apparently they don't know about the what type of anthem just yet. So of course they go to the church, which I'm like, okay, if this is supposed to be mass, where are the parishioners, and where's the pastor? Because all they're seeing doing is that they're just in this church, they're praying, and that was quite interesting. The wife has now normally you pray when you close your eyes. He doesn't. Are they applying the fact he's an atheist, or he just doesn't do that? I thought that was kind of weird. Seeing that. Did he suspect something? Don't know. And of course, the villain show up anyways, take him, and of course, in a duplicate car to Diana driving. Yes, they make a duplicate car that she just happened to have. And then, of course, basically, here's the thing. So, they try to get convincing. He's like, no. They torture his wife with shocks. It's like, no, no, no. And then she just absorbs the shocks, breaks the cage she's in, frees her husband, and proceeds to beat the crap out of the Warthog troops. You're thinking, wait a minute, this woman's the wife of a scientist. What's going on here? Well, it turns out this woman is a robot. Well, an android. Yes, and it was over the end of the episode. His actual wife died 4 years prior to the episode, which means she died back in 1982. At the time of Space Sheriff Gavin. In a car crash. And made the robot 1 year later. Excuse me. I thought, that was interesting. Yeah. But in the case of these 4 episodes, I like 17. 18 feels like Spielban was going to be an idiot. And you might be thinking, did the regular writer write this episode? Did he write episode 18? Like, he did, but he had a co-writer. The director of the episode. Yoshi Kobayashi, who was director of the Spaceship Trilogy. Yes, who wrote this episode. So, the main writer wrote his character as a complete idiot. Yeah, I don't get of exactly why he did it for, but he did. My guess is maybe they weren't by directing the episode. I have no freaking idea. I would say that I kind of these 4 episodes, overall, I kind of like 17. I do like 20. 19 is bizarre to say the least. I would say the worst episode of these 4 is 18. Purely because Spielban, half the episode, is written to be a complete idiot. And I don't know, what was it implied? I don't know, maybe it was implied that he may have had a thing for this woman in the episode for, she has spent time in a lake. It's almost like, basically, like, it's almost like you watch this episode and you're like, why in the world couldn't the girl just accept his help? Because she was also really kind of an idiot as well. And then Her planet leaving the planet? Nope, that could not happen because the ship crashed in a lake and they're trapped there because, get this, the ship found the gravity be too toxic for them. I'm like, really? I thought this was kind of weird. The whole thing, the alien thing, appearing in an episode like this is definitely pulled from the Space Ship trilogy. Oh, yes, it is. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of see why the guy left after this series, because I think maybe he was running out of ideas. That's why he kept reusing ideas from previous series. That's my guess. It's like, I like the first 16 episodes, but these 4 in particular are just odd. But look how basic I'm on break soon. Okay, so that's pretty much it, particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, do the like button. Next up, let's just worry about these last 4 episodes and go on break from it. And then worry about my 2 anime. Okay? Next video. Bye.